Hello, welcome to SAT Double Take, where we solve math problems from the actual SAT exam in two different ways, and the correct way to do it is whatever is best for you. So let's jump to this. This is from College Board exam number 1, the calculator section, number 11. All right, which of the following numbers is not a solution of the inequality 3x minus 5 is greater than 4x minus 3? Now, I'm going to first start off by isolating x and putting it on a number line. This method is the more standard method of doing it. I'm sorry, my handwriting's horrible here. But let's go ahead and jump to it. So 3x minus 5 is greater than or equal to 4x minus 3. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides here, just because I like my x's to be on the left-hand side whenever possible. It's just easier for me, but you could have also gone in the opposite direction. So we have now negative x is greater than or equal to, then we add 5 to each side, positive 2, and then I have x is going to be less than or equal to negative 2 because I want x to be isolated. And whenever the way we go about that is you can divide both sides or multiply both sides by negative 1. But then that also flips the sign, you don't want to forget. Okay, so x is less than or equal to negative 2. If I put that on a number line here, we can see that we have x is less than or equal to negative 2. So that means it's a solid line and it goes in this direction. Now looking at my answer choices starting from D, negative 5 would be over here. So that is a solution, which means it's not the answer. Remember, they do not want a solution. Which one of these is not a solution? Negative 3 falls there. Negative 2, it's a solid dot because it's equal to. So that is not a solution. Or that is a solution, which means it's not the answer. And now we're left with A. Another way you could have gone about this is by replacing x here with the answer choices to see which one is true. Like for instance, negative 5, is that less than or equal to negative 2? And this is a true statement. Negative 5 is less than negative 2. So that means it's not the answer. It's a true statement, so it's not the answer. But if you were to plug in negative 1, negative 1 is not less than negative 2. Negative 1 is actually greater than negative 2. You have less debt if you owe $1 versus $2. And so A would be the correct answer. Now, we kind of did some plugging in there, but let's say for some reason you don't feel comfortable isolating with inequalities because you feel like you may make a mistake or something like that. This is a method when you're plugging in that is going to potentially take more time. Like I know exactly how much isolation is going to take out of my time. It's probably going to take me about 30 seconds max. Whereas plugging in, we're going to plug into this directly. We're not going to simplify it. You can, and you get to this point here, like if you were to simplify this, ultimately you would end up with this like we did here. But if that's something that you're not comfortable doing because you're flipping the inequality or whatever it is, then you want to plug directly into this equation. And if we were to plug in A, you'd have negative 1. So negative 1 times 3 would give us negative 3 minus 5. And is that greater than or equal to negative 1 times 4 would be negative 4 minus 3. And this becomes negative 8 is greater than or equal to negative 7. And this is not true. Negative 8 is not greater than negative 7. It's a smaller number because it's more to the left on the number line here. Number 8, number 7. Number 7 is actually closer to 0, so it's a greater number. So this is not true, which makes it a solution. But if we were to plug in negative 5, negative 3, negative 2, we would end up with inequalities that are true, but are now then considered the wrong answer. And that's where the risk comes in. If you were to start from D and moving your way on up, you want to track on the trend of how far off you are. If you're really off, if you plugged in D, you would see that you really were far away from having a correct answer. Then you may want to jump to A in this situation because we see that the answer choices are decreasing as you go up. All these negatives are confusing. So take your time on something like this, but definitely pick the method that is going to work for you best on test day. Try both so you can better understand the material. Best of luck.